Hello my friends and fishes, and welcome back to another tail making video. This is going to be for Spirit of the Sea. Before we get into the rest of the video, I wanted to show you guys a little bit of the tail making process, and after that we'll take a look at the final product, as well as discuss it in fairly great detail. You know how I like to do here on my channel. So you guys have been requesting that I show a little bit more of the actual sewing process, so I thought I would do that. This will be the last video in this particular style. This was a bit haphazardly put together. And I'm sort of sorry for that, but I do have a new format that I have come up with that I would like to try for my next tail making video that I do, which will be hopefully starting up soon. So here I am, we're just sewing in the dorsal fin area here. I do this a little bit differently than other makers do, which instead of cutting into the tail, I actually sew everything kind of topically to it. Here I am doing the zipper and tinkering with my camera because I wanted to try a little bit of a new angle and see if this would work a little bit better for you. Cutting away the excess always takes a little bit of extra elbow grease because it's a lot of layers to cut through. And when I flipped this inside out, you can't obviously see my face here, but I was quite pleased with how it was looking so far. This tail is definitely one of my favorites that I've done. It's so unique and so different. It's so good. It makes me so happy. I'm so proud. Anyways, pulling out all the little extra sharp bits is always a challenge, so I use a pair of needle nose pliers for that to really get that sharp look, which is really hard to achieve with fabric. And so now I'm going to work on the monofin pocket. As you can see here, I use a lot of pins, and I always say, you know, more is more, and more is a good thing because you want to keep everything stationary while you're working so that things aren't sliding around. You're not potentially making things lopsided for your pocket. And if you see a little bit of this blue marker, it's not actually part of the print. It's a fabric marker that I've used over top to help me create sort of a guide. I'll actually trace out the monofin and its exact, from the exact monofin, right? And to make sure that my pocket is going to be as precise as possible because you want it to have a really nice snug fit. You guys always ask about drainage, and this is the reason that I don't need drainage in my tails anymore, is because you got to make sure that that monofin is just snug as a bug, you know what I'm saying? So this was all very satisfying to do, and in a second we're going to take a look at the final tail and then dive into the real discussion about it. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hello my friends and fishes, and welcome to another video. Today I wanted to show you guys my latest mermaid tail creation, Spirit of the Sea. This tail is made out of 4-way stretch white scuba knit fabric, because you guys always want to know. The print is an original design inspired by the Na'vi people from the film Avatar. So the file for this tail, if you've seen my Brimstone video, you know that that tail file was like 14 gigs. So this one's about 5 gigs, just under 5 gigs. And the reason it's on the smaller side in comparison to Brimstone, this tail doesn't have any scales or any spines or plates or anything per se, so it doesn't have any of those real like smart objects that add up on the file size. That said though, this tail is about 111 layers worth of detail and design. And I spent a great deal of time on the texture for this tail because I knew I wanted to do something without scales for this. I wanted it to have more of that kind of mammal look to it, so I didn't want to do scales. I didn't want it to be just flat color. I wanted there to be like pores of skin. Like I wanted it to really feel like maybe it was like a rough, like a shark kind of a texture to it. And yes, I know sharks aren't mammals. I just meant texture-wise. So another fun, albeit totally unintentional feature of this tail is the bioluminescent dots on it will actually glow under a black light. And yes, I know you're wondering, like, Courtney, how did you figure this out? It was entirely by accident. And I have a couple of items from Creations by Haley, and she often sends her stuff with the little black light keychains, and so I was using that, and then I was like, oh, I like just going around my office because it's fun to see what lights up, right? Like brighter colors and these things. And sure enough, the tail lights up. I'm like, Oh, that's exciting. That's something I didn't really expect. So now, of course, it makes me really want to try this out in future designs, like intentionally. So stay tuned for that. So this tail was designed specifically for use with the fish fin. It had the right kind of shape that I wanted to go with for this tail. And of course, since it has the fish fin, it does have the full like 70 centimeter long zipper so that it makes it really easy to get the monofin in and out. I actually have an ebook coming out soon all about hidden zippers and how to install them in mermaid tails. So sorry to interrupt you, Courtney. I do have to just pop in really quick because obviously I filmed this and recorded this a long time ago. I actually have 2 ebooks out now that you're going to want to check out. So the Hidden Zipper ebook, that's out, as well as a new ebook all about mermaid tail design theory and principles. So that's really exciting. Be sure to check those out in my new eShop. Like which zippers to use, what length, the whole 9, and like step by step with photos on how to actually do it and not mess it up. So stay tuned for that. It's coming to the shop soon. This tail also has a double dorsal, which is essentially just like one long dorsal fin that I decided to make 2 separate fins in the hopes of adding a little bit more movement to the design in the water. I've been on a real kick with side fins recently, so I gave this design 2 really huge side fins. And if you have one of my tails with side fins, you know they add such an extra layer of like follow through and overlapping action. Looks so good in the water. Now, when it comes to the actual design of this tail, I did of course use Avatar for inspiration. I started designing this tail right when I found out that the next movie was going to be all in the water, and I was very excited about the prospect of potentially seeing like Na'vi mermaids. Now, I really didn't think they were actually going to go through with like a full mermaid design for the Na'vi people that lived in that environment, and of course I was right, but I really wanted to kind of take a shot at what I think a merfolk kind of species on Pandora might look like, you know, were I ever asked to design one. I just thought I would kind of take a shot at it, see what I could come up with. I was really inspired by the species on the planet, and I thought, you know, maybe I've got a unique take on this. I took a look at a lot of the different creatures on Pandora, a lot of the designs that had already been done. I kind of looked at what I liked in terms of aesthetic, what kind of jived with my kind of style. Things like the bioluminescent dots, I really love how that looks. I like the subtle striping on the Na'vi people. I also like some of those more harsher striped patterns on like the banshees, for example. Really loved how that looked. So I kind of wanted to incorporate a lot of these different things into the design. And of course, it didn't stick to just blue, which I feel like is what most people kind of, when they're doing something that's like Na'vi inspired, people want to go with just a straight blue color. But if you actually really look at a lot of the different species as well as the people themselves, there's actually like the blue is made up of a lot of different blues and a lot of different shades of like hues, if you will. And if you know me, I never do something that's just like straight one color. It's always like this color and then some warmer versions of that color, some cooler versions of that color, maybe like an accent color and this kind of a thing. So though this tail is primarily blue, it has accents of purple, turquoise, red, white, green, and pink, with varying shades within all of that. So the shape of the fluke is probably my favorite part of the whole design. I wanted something a bit more mammalian than you would normally see. I wanted it to almost feel a bit more whale tail-like while still being a bit otherworldly, like not of this planet. So not really like a very obvious dolphin or whale tail shape. And so overall, I'm extremely pleased with how this tail turned out, and I'm so proud of how it stands out as a unique piece of artwork. A huge shout out to the client who purchased this tail. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, my fishy. And I also want to take a second to give a huge shout out to the Patreon pod, since I know there were quite a few of you who actually wanted to purchase this tail. We had to do it not quite like lottery style, but it was like if you wanted to purchase the tail, you put your name down, and then I put it into a random generator and then selected someone from that, and then they could purchase the tail. It was the first time we'd done something like that, and I think it worked fairly well, but I just wanted to say how much I appreciate my Patreon pod for all their kind words, encouragement, and support with this design. So this is the second tail in my series of one-off mermaid tail designs, which means I will not be making more than one tail in this specific design. If you're interested in my work as a tail maker, you're more than welcome to check out my Patreon pod, since that's where I make all of my work available. I know I've mentioned it in a few videos now, but I'll just say once more, in case anybody missed it, that I am no longer publicly offering my tails. So if you do wish to purchase one of my designs or order a custom tail, you will only be able to do so as part of the Patreon pod when slots are available. All that said, I want to thank you so much for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks again, my fishes, and I look forward to catching you all again in my next video. Happy swimming! Bye! It's very rare that we have a little dude in the— he used to be in all my videos. Who remembers that? Comment below if you remember when this guy used to be in every single video. It used to be his job. We used to call it his job. Who remembers that? If you do, you've been here for a while.